Is it? Is it a big number?
I'd like to call to order the April 4th, 2017 regular meeting of the Board of Education. If you could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to read the mission statement for the school district. We are committed to academic achievement and success for all students in a safe environment. In partnership with families and our community, our mission is to promote confidence, inspire a passion for learning, and to prepare our students to become responsible global citizens. I have one announcement. Monroe Woodbury High School portfolio prep students participated in An Artist's Response to Human Rights exhibition, sponsored annually by the Orange County Human Rights Commission. The Monroe Woodbury High School student artists reviewed and researched the 30 articles outlined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. They each chose one of the 30 articles and created visual interpretations in a variety of media. The artwork was displayed at the SUNY Orange Newburgh campus on December 1st through 18th, 2016, and their exhibit has now come to the Education Center, hanging here. So please take a look when you have a moment.
There's an app.
What?
And there's an app.
And there's an app.
There's an app for it.
Yes. Do you want to explain that?
Sure. Eric, did you want to explain it?
Anybody want to explain it?
Barbara, will you explain this? No. The art department, in putting together the display, is using an app on an iPad where the student artists that created the work have a video clip that coincides with the art that's on display. And it's pre-installed on the app. If you come and you can get the app from the district clerk at any time during building hours, and you hold the iPad up to the artwork, it recognizes the artwork and it will display the student's video clip explaining the piece and the history behind the piece and the various articles that go behind their choice of the art that they created. So it's a really, really cool feature. I guess they're using it, Mr. McElroy, in a variety of galleries nowadays. It's sort of the 21st century of art media. So if anybody wants to come and check it out, the iPad is available through the district clerk. So it's a really cool feature.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you. I got to turn in my rotary phone soon, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. Do I have a motion to approve the revised agenda?
Second.
We have questions and/or comments from interested citizens. You want to
I did. I wanted to
chat
make a
about
statement.
something here?
Yes, I did want to take a moment to thank the representatives of the varsity ice hockey team. We had a really good meeting yesterday, and we both agreed to work together to support the program and put into place measures that would ensure the continuity of the program for years to come. I commend the parents and the players for their passion and their dedication and love for the sport. So I want to thank you.
Great. And thanks for your communications and your advocacy. We know it's important. There are many programs in this district that are very important to many of the students, and we try our best to accommodate as many as we possibly can. So, all right, Stephen Pelosi.
Good evening, members of the board, Supervisor Rodriguez. My name is Steve Pelosi, and I'm representing and speaking on behalf of the Monroe Woodbury Hockey Advocacy Committee, which is a parent group that was formed to work with Superintendent Rodriguez and the board to find a fiscally responsible solution to create a lasting place for the varsity hockey program in Monroe. I want to thank Supervisor Rodriguez for her commitment to reinstate the Monroe Woodbury varsity ice hockey team and continue to work with us on the financial component to create a lasting place for the program next year and into the future. I believe we have, as a group, made our point to all the great importance that the sport of hockey has in this community and to our children. I want to publicly thank Senator Larkin, Assemblyman Skoufis for their support, but more importantly, I want to thank our Monroe hockey family and all of our extended hockey families for their support and efforts to bring us to this point. There is more work to be done. There was a meeting set up to continue our discussion next week. We have been asked and have agreed to postpone it to the following week so that Superintendent Rodriguez can look into all options available to the district. We look forward to that meeting and continuing to work with Supervisor Rodriguez to find a final solution so we can stand together and provide a permanent and lasting place for the Monroe Crusaders varsity hockey team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan Ertz.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Ertz, and I am a junior at Monroe Woodbury High School and a forward on the varsity hockey team. I am grateful for the opportunity to speak tonight about something that is very important to me. My family moved to Orange County in 2009, and at the time I did not know how to skate, let alone play hockey. I asked my parents to sign me up to learn how to skate because I wanted to play hockey. My dad played basketball from a young age up and was a member of the varsity team through high school. My brother played baseball for over 10 years growing up. I always wanted to be part of a team, and the varsity hockey experience has been that and more. I am proud to be involved in a sport that is driven by dedication and teamwork. A sport that brings people together and allows us to become better people and neighbors. We are all able to learn from one another, lean on each other when needed, on and off the ice. This is because we are more than a team, we are a family. One of my favorite things about Monroe Woodbury hockey is the Winter Classic. It is cool to play on an outdoor rink, but the game allows us to raise money and collect toys for Maria Farrar Children's Hospital. It's a great bonding experience for us as a team and a community, and allows us to recognize sometimes how we can take good of our health for granted. My experience on the varsity team has been truly amazing. I have learned many lessons about life, and I am blessed that I will graduate next year and go on to college where I can share these lessons in the real world. I am encouraged to hear that we may have the chance to continue this program. I am thankful for Superintendent Mrs. Rodriguez, who is my principal at the middle school, and for her support. Please give us the chance to continue this program for future generations. Give me and fellow teammate Joe a chance in our senior year to mentor the underclassmen and put them in a position to be successful going forward, not only in hockey, but life. Thank you for your time, and I will ask you to keep my words in consideration going forward.
We also got a letter in support from the hospital,
We
too.
do.
Got support from every direction.
We did. We did. Can I just say one thing? And I mentioned it when I met with the team. I said this was such an organized group that I asked them to help me support public education, because we are really under attack in public education, and we need the community and people like you to come out and speak on behalf of what we do in our school district. So again, I thank you and I applaud the work that you did.
If you put half the passion into advocating for general education and yelling at Albany that you put into the advocacy for your team, we'll have a great outcome up in Albany, believe me. Appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
Irene Conklin.
I don't even need that. Good evening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm the president of CSCA, Monroe Woodbury bus drivers, custodians, buildings, grounds, maintenance, dispatchers, 19A examiners, pretty much everybody. We're giving up our time today to support you guys, because you're the reason we have the job. So today is not about CSCA. Today is about the hockey team. Any sports team at Monroe Woodbury that may be under the threat of being cut, we're here to support you guys. Transportation should not be an issue. I don't want them to ever pin us against you guys. You're the reason we're here. You're the reason we come to work. So we support you guys.
Do I have a motion to approve the second reading of the policy manual update 3160, school district standards and guidelines for web page publishing? Moved and seconded. Are there any questions or discussions on the part of the board? No?
We also want to talk about a policy that we removed. We had a policy regarding charging, and can you hear me? So we
I
had
can hear you.
Thank you. We had a policy regarding charging, and we would have had the second reading today, but there were some issues that were raised, and so we've pulled the policy to review it again and then put it back on again. So we just wanted to make sure that everyone understood that we had removed it because there were some issues that were raised, and we want to review it. Okay.
Any more comments or discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Reports by Board of Education Committee. Do we have any?
No, other than we reviewed the policy and we want to change one or two things, that's it.
Okay, want to take a break now?
Facilities, nothing's changed since last week.
All right. Should we take a break now? Do you want to take a break?
We could, if
now?
you want. If we want, the kids want to get our signatures.
We're going to take a short break so that government students who are here for their class can get our signatures and go home and study until midnight.
Where are they?
Where are they?
They were here before.
Come. And anybody else who wants to leave or stretch your legs, that's fine. Hockey, Pete, whatever.
No, that's
No, that was the answer.
We are resuming after this short break. No board business took place during the break. We now have a presentation of the 2017-2018 personnel budget. Harry Lefevre.
Good evening. Tonight we'll be presenting our preliminary administrative budget general personnel considerations, which is basically the salary and benefit components of the staffing referred to in budget books 1, 2, and 3 by Mr. Cahill, Dr. Hassler, the building principals, and the program directors. That includes all personnel for transportation, operations and maintenance, health and safety, food services, computer technology, teachers, counselors, and other related service providers, teaching assistants, one-on-one monitors, aides, clerical, as well as building level and district-wide administrators. All stipends for interscholastic and intramural coaches, clubs and activities, advisors, department chairs, homebound instructors, and others. And I'm sure I probably left out some classification, but as you can see, providing an excellent, comprehensive academic program for all students is very labor-intensive. In fact, as you look at the next few slides, you're going to see that the combined total of salary and benefits for the district represents 79.2% of the overall proposed budget. This is the fringe benefit code. The program code is 9800. You see the amounts for the last 4 years. We're looking at a 7.5% increase this year in fringe benefits. That's due to a variety of things. The expenses that are associated are the mandatory employer contributions to the state retirement system, ERS and TRS. And there's actually a drop, small drop in those contributions, but it also includes the payroll taxes, the Social Security contributions by the district, Medicare, workers' compensation, insurance, the OU BOCES Consortium, employee life, disability, and health insurance, as well as dental and vision. For the next year, we're looking at a significant budget-to-budget increase of 7.5%, which is a result of increases in health insurance premiums of about 18%, and then the modest decreases in TRS and CRS, ERS rather. To look a little deeper at the health insurance code. Healthcare costs are a major topic of conversation across the country. It's not just New York State, not just the region, not just Orange County. As you can see, the increase in health insurance is more than half of the budget-to-budget increase. The district is part of the Orange-Ulster Health Consortium, which provides coverage to 20 school districts in the region. Mr. Cahill has attended many meetings recently as the group reviewed its expenses and the coverages provided. Independently, we've actually looked at some comparable plans and found that those plans are even more expensive than the Orange-Ulster plan that we currently belong to. The rates and the experience rating are for the entire health plan. So when the costs go up for increased utilization across the plan, the intensity of treatment across the plan, everybody shares in it equally. District-wide salary code, object code 1, and all of the codes that are in that begin with a 1, like 1010 and 1020, and those are district-wide codes. And you can see that's district-wide administrators, data processing, operations and management. If you take a look at the next code, it looks a little deeper. The 1620 is buildings and grounds, or O&M. There's a very minimal increase, 0.03% from last year's increase to this year's increase, this year's budget. And again, that's the operations and maintenance, grounds, overtime, substitute workers. It's pretty much been flat because of decreases in overtime and snow removal budget codes. The 2000 function codes, the 2010, and all of those are increase in about 3.4%, 3.42%. That includes all the teacher functions, as I mentioned, elementary, secondary, the subs, department chairs, guidance, computer-aided instructions, interscholastic sports, and so on. Transportation, there's actually a little bit of a decrease this year. 4.65%. And overall, you've got a 79.2% of the budget to budget is in personnel and salary and fringe benefits. That's $3,151,000 increase, primarily from the increase in the health insurance. Any questions?
Questions from the board? I guess not. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
We now have the presentation of the superintendent's Recommendations, Superintendent Elsie Rodriguez.
I think if it's too hard, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. Good evening, and I want to thank the Board of Education for the opportunity to present my budget recommendation for the 2017-2018 school year. The budget process began sometime late in October 2017, and at that time, we began to make projections for the 2017-2018 school year. These are critical dates here. On February 15th, we presented our first book, Book 1. On March 8th, we had a budget review, and at that time, we had our building principals present their building budget overview. March 29th, which was last week, we had Book 2 and Book 3 presented. This evening, you just heard from Mr. Lefevre, the general personnel consideration, and then I'm doing my superintendent recommendation. Another critical date is on April 20th. The Board of Education will adopt the budget. May 3rd is the public budget hearing, and on May 16th is the budget vote. This is a slide that we've had, I would say, for the past 3 years, where we talk about what are our budget challenges. Once again, the 2% property tax cap continues to be less than 2%. It's actually 1.26%, which is an increase from last year. The good news for Monroe-Woodbury Central School District is that because of the significant growth in the tax base growth factor, which is bricks and mortar changes, the factor is adding a +3 to the levy computation, which translate into a higher than expected maximum levy. The district has OU Health insurance, and as Mr. Lefevre spoke about, we have an 18% increase in our health insurance premiums. That is exactly $3.379 million budget-to-budget increase, which is a little over 2% on a 3.8 overall increase. As we spoke about previously, we have a stalemate in Albany. This year, the budget has come to a standstill with the governor requesting an extender bill, which means we may not get our state runs until after the budget has been approved. We also have expiring contracts, which also lead to some uncertainty. The Facilities Committee has been working pretty active this year, dealing with the many issues associated with the maintenance and improvement of the district facilities. Some of these changes will be for our basic building infrastructure items, replacing decade-old building systems, other items that have been discussed and requested, including improved athletic fields and facilities. We have engaged Land Associates and charged them with conducting a long-range facilities plan, including a feasibility study of uses for the unused Sapphire Dorm and an assessment of our athletic fields on our main campus. The plan is nearing completion, and the cost for replacing and improving district buildings and facilities is estimated between $50 and $100 million. There is a silver lining. The good news is that the teacher retirement system rates decreased from 11.72 to 10.5%. Final state aid figures, as we have said several times, are unknown at this moment. The state budget has been extended till May 31st. We are projecting a modest increase to BOCES aid only. We feel this is a conservative approach. However, any additional state aid will simply offset or decrease the need for assigned fund balance. The takeaway here is that a budget-to-budget increase of $1,748,365, or 3.5% in state aid revenue. The following chart shows the approved budget for this current school year and my recommended budget for the 2017-2018 school year. The budget-to-budget increase is a 3.87, with the primary cost driver the 18% increase in district health insurance premiums. The tax levy of 3.85, which does not exceed the district maximum allowable levy, simple majority required to approve the budget. The district is fortunate that the tax-based growth factor was higher than average this year, driving the maximum levy higher, which is really needed due to the increase in health insurance. These are the three propositions. In Proposition 1, I recommend that our operating budget for the 2017-2018 school year be at $1,271,202,208, or a 3.8% budget-to-budget increase. Proposition 2, which is a bus and vehicle purchase, I do wish to clarify a comment that was made in our previous meeting regarding the bus and vehicle purchase. This proposition provides the authority and flexibility to borrow to pay for buses or use surplus funds available at year end to cover the cost of busing. Not borrowing saves on interest payments and the cost of borrowing, which is legal and administrative cost. Either approach is permissible. We plan on replacing 11 buses and vans totaling $987,910. We have one large bus with undercarriage storage. We have 5 large buses, which will seat 72 students, 3 vans, and 3 cars. Our last proposition is the proposition number 3, which is our capital reserve fund. This capital reserve seeks voters' approval to establish a reserve. Maximum contribution amount of $40 million, duration 15 years, may be used for capital projects and improvement for any and all district buildings. The source of funding, year-end surplus. It would also require voter approval to use it for capital projects. I've mentioned in my previous slide that our building condition survey indicated that we need between $50 and $100 million worth of capital improvement. This would allow us, if there was ever an emergency, to use that for our buildings. Again, we would need voter approval to use that money. This is a budget-to-budget percent change. The chart shows historical data related to budget increases. The increase has been far smaller with cuts to state aid and the advent of the property tax. Our proposed increase for next year is a 3.87, with an approximately 2% of that increase covering our additional health cost and insurance. This slide represents the tax levy comparison for the last 15 years. The takeaway here is that the proposed budget has an increase of 3.85, with over 2%, again, coming from the increase in health insurance premiums. And finally, our contingent budget. Under the tax cap law, if the budget fails to get voter approval on 2 separate votes, the district would be subjected to what we call a contingency budget. The contingency budget limits the district to the amount of the prior year levy with certain mandatory budget reductions, such as raises for non-bargaining staff, costs associated with use of facility. For Monroe-Woodbury, contingency budget would require considerable cuts to the budget with the potential for reduction in staff, leading to programmatic and instructional changes district-wide. We would have to cut from the budget $4,320,148. Thank you, and do you have any questions?
Any questions from the board?
So I think I know the answer to this question, but we keep talking about the health premiums, health care premiums. Do we have any options, or is there anything we can do regarding that for the future?
Well, let me start, and then I'll kick it over to you, Patrick. We belong to a consortium. And so one of the things that we did when we realized that the premiums were going up 18% is that Patrick put together a comparison of all the other plans that are out there. And I'll have him talk a little bit about that. But what we learned was that we have a really good plan, and that although it's going up 18%, it's not very different than any of the other plans. So, Patrick, do you want to speak about that further?
Yeah, I think you hit on the major points. There's about 5 other plans that we looked into, and it was just really a premium comparison. And so the other plans would be the Empire Plan, which is the New York State plan. It's also called NYSHIP. So that's a plan that a lot of districts that are part of the consortium also offer to their employees. So they have a couple of options. We do not. We have the one plan here. And I've mentioned this before, the idea of the OU Health Plan was we felt that we could do it, the 20 or so districts that are part of the plan, could do it less expensively than NYSHIP. Because prior to the OU Health Plan, everyone was part of NYSHIP. So they developed a plan that was comparable to NYSHIP. And as I said before, with the consortium, any profits, unlike a regular for-profit insurance company, any profits that would be garnered go back to lower the premiums or enhance the benefits of for the members. So as Harry alluded to and Elsie mentioned, this is not restricted to the Orange County school districts. This is a national phenomenon. We've seen the health insurance marketplaces. The premiums are going through the roof for for-profit insurance companies. The other districts and other consortiums in the area are seeing a similar experience. The Empire Plan, they had a 12% premium increase for next year. And even computing 18% increase to OU Health, we were still saving about $500,000 compared to the NYSHIP, the Empire Plan. I reached out to New York 44, which is another consortium of 54 school districts, basically out of Western New York, and spoke to them, got some premium information. We would save, even with an 18% increase for this year, about $1.6 million. And what I did is there's different categories. There's individual, there's family, and then there are various retiree categories, if you're Medicare eligible or not. If you're Medicare eligible, that becomes your primary insurance, and the premium that we would pay for the retiree decreases because there's 2 insurance plans available. So one of the interesting things about New York 44, this Western New York plan, is they do not offer. They have 2 rates, individual and family. And I guess it's a historical item because in Western New York, they didn't always offer health insurance to retirees. So we consider that the premiums are actually lower for retirees because they have Medicare. And it's almost as though if we were to join that plan, we would be subsidizing these districts that do not offer insurance to retirees, because we'd be paying 2 rates, even though we have a whole pool of people we're insuring that are actually less expensive because they have Medicare as their primary insurance. So we are looking into it. It bears monitoring for sure. Hopefully, this trend, this incredible medical inflation will diminish, will dissipate. But I think it's a national trend, right? And who knows what will happen with the repeal of the Affordable Care Act, how that will affect things. I mean, it's really, truly a wild card. And the ACA, the implementation of that definitely increased our costs. There were mandatory coverages that we weren't providing before and we suddenly had to, such as coverage for young adults to 26 years old. So the industry really is in flux, and we've made some tweaks to the benefits. We've changed our pharmacy benefit manager because the prescription drugs is a big piece. It's driving costs. There's designer drugs now. There's all kinds of things going on. And we're projecting that is going to save us. We had a 26% gap. I mentioned this earlier in one of our presentations, meaning the costs exceeded the revenues by 26%. So you can fix that by increasing your premiums 26% or cutting your benefits, which would amount to 26%, or some combination of the two, which is what we chose to do. So we're looking at it, and hopefully the changes we've made to the plan, including this huge premium increase of 18%, will right the ship. I mean, it's Elsie, Harry both mentioned this, that it's really what's driving the budget increase this year. Out of the 3.87% budget-to-budget increase, over 2% of that is just health insurance. It's one budget code out of the 500 budget codes we have. So it's unfortunate, and we actually are incredibly lucky because our property tax levy, as Elsie mentioned, with that growth factor is 3.85% because of the brick and mortar change in the community for this year. I think it's mostly accounted for by Woodbury Commons, but without that, we would be, as I said in an earlier meeting, having a different conversation, very different, I think, as other school districts are.
Anthony, when I talked to Patrick about it, I have a little access to this information. I'm vice chairman of Orange Regional, so when I went in and I looked at what fundamentally is happening and why it's changing, and I think Patrick, when we first talked, understood this as well. And I'm not going to position it as bad or good, But with the change in Obamacare, you make less per visit. There's certain changes. So what's happened is you don't see many standalone doctors anymore. Almost everyone's in a group. And when you go in and see a doctor, more often than not, you don't see one. And the way to overcome, it's like any rushed policy or regulation, the way to help with that is to say, okay, I'm going to check this. I see something. You need to go next door to the other guy, and you need to get this checked. And then you go to the next guy, and then they run 3 more tests. So by the time you walk out the door versus before, your bill is significantly higher than when you went and saw one doctor for one problem. Now, some people argue that you're getting better health care, too, because you're seeing all these specialists and it's preventative. We're not going to get into that argument, but the end result is that the individual bills for all health care are going up kind of as a result of taking doctors and moving them into large consortium, and there's nothing you can really do about that.
One of the things that Dr. Hassler and I did when we go to Albany to promote or talk about our school district and really talk about what our needs are is that we did mention to both Senator Larkin and Assemblyman Skoufis that we were looking for potentially a healthcare reserve fund, because if we had that, it would allow us in situations like this to be able to draw from that. I don't know if they're going to, vote on that, but that is something that we've been talking about, is the potential of having a healthcare reserve fund to allow us. Right now, the only people that have that healthcare reserve are those school districts that are self-insured, and that would be, I think it's Minnesink in Orange County. They are self-insured.
That was one other thing I wanted to mention too, is that, that's another option, self-insure. And what that essentially means is you hire a third-party administrator who manages claims, and you're part of a group like Blue Cross Blue Shield, that sort of thing. But you basically pay for the claims. You pay the medical bills for your retirees. Basically, the minimum number for that, and the upside to that is if your population of staff is healthier than average or healthier than the community at large, you would have lower claims. So that would be beneficial to self-insure. The downside is with a very small pool, you have a lot of risk. If you had a couple of bad catastrophic years, or even a single high-cost case, or a couple of those, you could be in big trouble financially. And I believe right now in state law, you're permitted to have a reserve for that if you self-insure only. So in other words, that's the mechanism for those districts that do take that risk to protect themselves and say put away 10 or whatever $1 million for those days where they had a bad year or a bad couple of years, whatever. It can be trouble, and 1,000 employees is about the minimum. That's what I was going to say, and so we're right on the cusp. So that probably isn't the best option to try to self-insure. And one of the problems is you never really know if that would benefit you until you have your claims information. And for insurance companies, that's usually proprietary. They're not giving you that information because then everybody could see if they're making out with the premium or not. And the OU health plan, there's been some controversy with that where Minnesink School District wanted that, and the plan has made a decision to say we're not going to release that information for any individual district until you say you're leaving, and then you can have that. And I think Middletown School District is also seeking that information and may vigorously seek that, shall we say. I think they've asked nicely, and we've said no, so we don't know where that's going to go.
I think Minnesink may have pulled out too, right?
Minnesink?
One of the Orange County school districts.
Minnesink did.
Yeah,
yes.
That's why I was the last board meeting I was at for Orange County Board. They were extolling the virtues of being self-insured. It sounded a little risky to me, but I was just wondering whether we'd explore all options. It sounds like
it's hard to know, though, Anthony, if it's going to be beneficial or not. In fact, you don't know. Right. You're making a guess.
I think they had a good year with it this year, but who's to say next year?
Right. I know that the Bedford Central School District in Westchester was self-insured for decades, and they had a couple of bad years, and it really hurt them bad.
Anything else?
Depend on your retirees. Like how many retirees do you have on the plan? That's an age limit where you're going to have more claims maybe as the people get older.
Yeah, it definitely, the demographics of your population would affect that as well. Yeah.
the supplement, I'm not sure if that's when you're self-insured or if it's just open, but there's Aflac, and Aflac is an insurance where a person can take from A or B and take a certain coverage, and you can pay the premium and get that back within the year because you get paid for going to the doctor. You can put that claim in. If you're also sick in a hospital, they give you like a couple $100 a day back to you. So that also helps if you're self-insured and you have another person who's, self-insured through us, we're claiming them, and then they can claim on their own with Aflac. It's kind of like a win-win. I had it for a little while and paid my entire premium, so it wasn't even like I had extra insurance, but it didn't have a cost on my insurance, my main insurance.
To give you an idea, if you
I
look
don't
at
know if
self-insurance
that's-
in your medical organization, the time when you start to think maybe that's a good idea is when you have 200,000 members.
Oh, really?
Yep. Yeah, because your risk is just too great when you go below that. So,
Maybe that's what the organization that I work for may have had as many. I don't know
I
how
mean,
we were able
to
to
what
get it.
Patrick was saying, anything, you start looking at your actuarial, and it just, you can get hurt really, really bad.
Okay, anything else?
Just going back
Thank-
to the 79.2%, is there a New York State average or national average, and where do we fall within that?
I think there is, and I think we're a little above the average. The average, I don't know what your experience, I'm thinking 75.
75, 76.
So we're a little above that. I don't know what the, I don't know what the meaning or what we glean by that, but it's something we're looking at.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Harry, you're in a different seat, but you're still up.
Are we?
Personnel.
We have a rather light personnel agenda tonight after having one just last Wednesday. A couple of adjustments for bus driver and attendant hours, substitute pay rates, substitute additions, some new translators, and we're continuing to add to the summer enrichment program and the fourth quarter intramurals. So I'd ask that the board approve the personnel items as presented.
Do we have a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments, questions?
I just have, what is a walking?
A what?
A walking club. What is that?
It's a walking club.
What do they do?
It's actually
Anybody can join, what's the deal?
Or they hit each other with clubs? I don't know.
It's intramurals. Yeah, it's usually like it's like a 10-week intramural.
Oh, okay. It's for kids, okay.
Am I right, Ms. Hawk? Right, 10-week intramurals. Yep.
It's at Sapphire. Yeah.
10
It's the babies.
All right, good.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Business and financial, Patrick?
Yeah, I would just ask for the items under business and financial, approval of those items. Again, it's a fairly light agenda. 2 donations, $500 to our elementary Special Olympics team from the Benevolent and Protective Order of the Elks Lodge 1097, and a donation of $400 from the Funding Factory for the purchase of a Chrome base for Central Valley Elementary School. Let's see, we have some obsolete items. We have miscellaneous library items from Pine Tree Elementary and miscellaneous IT items from the MCC. And we have 2 contracts, both related to special education-related services with ABA Psychologist and Associates, LLP, and a contract with Professional Education Services, Inc.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Do I have a motion to approve the revised appointment of election board registration?
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Do I have a motion to approve the committees on special education, preschool special education, items 13.1, 13.2, 13.3 in the agenda?
Motion. Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Reports by board and central office. Michael?
Thank you to everyone coming out to support the hockey team. It's great that we've made progress since last meeting so quickly, so it's really good to hear. Thanks to the cabinet for all their work with the budget and all their transparency into the process. It makes it much easier for people like me to understand what's going on and with such a large task, so thank you.
Chris?
I also want to thank the hockey team for their support and, coming out together and got something, seems fixed very quickly. Or something in plan. I want to thank Elsie. She put the last puzzle in the piece tonight of the budget, but thank you for all the principals and transportation and security and everyone that spent weeks trying to get it all together and put it all together. We finally come together and it's all one big piece. And let's hope for some dry weather so our spring sports can finally play a game.
Yeah. Done.
Yeah, thank Patrick and his team for putting together the budget. This is a monumental task in the middle of a lot of distractions, and also for the hockey team. I'm glad we were able to, it looks like, come to a compromise, or we're on our way to one. And I think, to me, the biggest opportunity is the students that are involved. When you look at all of the things, it's easy to get angry with something when it doesn't work out. And I think the biggest lesson that I saw is we were able to come out, sit down, reach a compromise, or pretty close to a compromise, and work things out. And I think it gives us a teaching opportunity on how to deal with conflict and how to come up with resolution.
Suzanne?
Yeah. First, I'd like to say I'm very glad and relieved to hear that there seems to be a light at the end of the tunnel for the situation with the hockey team. And I'd like to also thank the CSEA members for coming out and showing their support. And I'd like to thank everyone involved in the budget presentation for all their efforts and hard work. And I know I pass here sometimes because I live nearby, and there are cars in this lot very late at night, burning midnight oil or the candle at both ends, whichever way you want to see it. And I know how hard your work is, and it's appreciated. It really is. And I know you do it for the kids, and I know you do it for the district, and I know you do it from a place of love. And I'm also looking forward to going around the room and looking at all this beautiful artwork and have a very nice evening.
Leah?
Wish everyone a nice evening.
Margot?
Mr. McElroy, thank you, students for high school. This is spectacular artwork. The name of the app is Erasma. You can download on your iPhone or on the device. It's really, really good app, and you click on that picture, and it will pop back.
How do you spell it?
Say the name again?
AURASMA.
And it's also, if you look at the bottom, I think on the left, there's a little instructions on how to get the app.
Right. So you just need once you download the app, look for the word MWR. Here's a special discount for the promotion, right? But it's really, really good app. Our kids, it's phenomenal to see the students using that. I also had a pleasure last night to attend the Music Booster interview for scholarship. It was a really good experience, and what a phenomenal kids. Like, they came so prepared, thanks to the students and teachers, and very well spoken. Really made a good case of why they deserve that scholarship. So, thank you.
Eric?
If you've reached the storage limit on your phone, you can just borrow the iPad, and like I have. But also thank you to the art department, and particularly the students. The talents are absolutely amazing. And thank you, similar to everybody else's comments. Have a great spring break.
Wow.
You wait a minute.
Are we really done?
Are you finished, Eric?
That's. I don't want to get in trouble by taking anybody else's thunder.
Let's move on to Patrick.
I'm not ready.
Mr. Burns.
Tonight. It's great.
Mr. Burnsley and I had an over-under on how long he was going to take. Mr. Burnsley won.
That's unbelievable. Where's the love?
It was 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Where's the love?
Yeah, no, I just want to thank, seriously for a moment, all my colleagues, the assistants and support in developing the budget this year. I particularly want to thank Sue Koski, my secretary. She was instrumental putting reports together, putting the budget development books out there for the directors and the principals and everybody involved. So Sue did a lot, and I just want to thank her. One other thing, I have a meeting with Bill Blosser and I are going to meet with the DOT representative Friday to walk the property that DOT would be taking through eminent domain for the Exit 131 reconfiguration. So hopefully we'll make some progress with them soon.
Harry?
Just in addition to Patrick's thanking Sue Koski, she did this all while becoming a new grandmother again, and put off spending time with the new grandchild to make sure that we had everything done that we needed to be done. So I think that says a lot for the support staff that we have here. The other thing, to pick up on the artwork, I was fortunate to be here when the exhibit was being set up and saw the process of activating the videos behind the artwork. It is absolutely amazing. I did suggest also to Mr. McElroy that they consider getting a QR code on the sheet, so that all you have to do is scan it with your phone and go right to it. So that's a thought for next year.
Thank you.
All right.
I'd like to also thank the presenters on the budget and remind everyone to vote. Thank the students for the artwork. I am totally impressed by every year. They're just amazing. And I'm sure they will go on to be someone famous, because I'm blown away. I can't even think the way I can't even fathom how they get to where they get the ideas. It's just incredible. I saw the play Big Fish at the high school. I wasn't here on last Wednesday, so I didn't get a chance to say that it was fabulous, and I'm always impressed by those talented children as well. And just have a great holiday and enjoy your break.
Stacy?
I want to say thank you to the presentation. I do realize, same thing, as I drive back and forth, there's a lot of lights on here late at night, so I appreciate all the work that goes into putting the budget together. I want to thank the hockey team again for coming out. I know a lot of us spoke at the end of last meeting, but a lot of you weren't there, and I think a lot of us can say that it takes a lot for you kids to get up and speak your mind, and I know that I'm very happy that there is hopefully a compromise in the future. I also want to thank Mr. Casti and the middle school staff, because I had the pleasure last week of attending the National Junior Honor Society induction. It's only been in existence in Monroe-Woodbury at that level for, I think, the last 5 years. And I've had the privilege of going twice now with 2 of my children, and I'm very thankful that it's been improved upon every year, that they do a wonderful job over there. So I thank them for that, and it was a really nice night. And that's it. Have a great spring break.
Anthony?
Thank you to the kids for this wonderful art. As everyone says, it's unbelievable how talented the kids are. Thanks to the hockey team and the families and the community for coming out and showing their support. That's the way things are supposed to work, and we're glad you did that, and we're glad we could reach a compromise. Thanks to CSEA for coming out and for ceding your time to the hockey team. That was a very nice gesture. Thanks to the cabinet, Elsie, Patrick, everybody who's done such a hard work in getting this budget prepared. And I am looking forward to Multicultural Night on Thursday, and everyone have a great spring break.
Dan?
I want to congratulate the Music Boosters for their scholarship interviews last night. From what I understand, it's the most applicants they've had in their history. I'm thrilled to find out that the hockey team is going to continue on in Monroe-Woodbury. Thank the CSEA for ceding their time. It was a great gesture. It really is nice. Thank you for everybody who presented with the budget. It's a ton of work. I'm glad I don't have to do it. And I want to thank John for coming back.
You're welcome.
Have a good spring break.
Elsie?
I want to start off with a letter that I received. I received lots of emails and calls on behalf of hockey. But if anyone knows me, I am very emotionally tied to children. And so there's a letter that I received that I should read. It's from a 10-year-old. It says, "My name is Tyler Baisley, and I'm a 10-year-old student at Pine Tree Elementary. I play ice hockey. Ever since I started playing, I've been looking forward to high school to be able to represent my district. When I found out that there would be no more ice hockey, I realized I would never be able to do that. I had dreams of being in the newspaper. I had dreams of being the goaltender that got my team to win a championship. I had friends I would talk with about how we were going to be on a big team. Now that's not going to happen. Please bring back ice hockey. Sincerely, Tyler Baisley." So I just want to speak to that child because this is the American way. If you don't like something, if you don't agree with something, have your voices be heard. And I think I said it at the last meeting. I think some of you weren't there, and I said, I quoted a high school student who said, "Democracy is messy." And I truly believe that. And so I am happy that we were able to sit and talk about how we can continue the program, and we will continue to talk. But I am very impressed with the students who got up and spoke very eloquently. It speaks volumes to who you are. And to this 10-year-old who wrote me a letter. Actually, he even put a stamp on it. I mean, they don't do that anymore. They send emails. So I felt it was really important for Tyler to know that I heard you, I read your letter, and I thank you for reaching out to me. I want to thank everyone who spoke, the CSCA and people representing the hockey teams. This is a great thing that we get to do. And I want to remind everyone that your voice is really important. And this board and my cabinet will sit and listen because we really do care about kids and we want to do the right thing. On that, I want to just wish everyone a happy spring break.
What can I say? I echo your thoughts. I thank people who came out to advocate for what they believe in. And I thank the administration and I thank the board for listening. And have a good spring break. I need a motion to adjourn into executive session for items regarding personnel. Motion. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Meeting is adjourned.